Watching the Indian Weekender. This is our special show on the rising graph of retail crime. As we all know, that there is a sudden spurt of retail crime with many number of incidences of ram raids happening in Auckland. The question that has emerged in front of us is that is Auckland gaining a reputation of city of ram raids? The reason why this question is emanating because not only the incidences of ram raids have suddenly increased dramatically, but also the brazenness, the audaciousness, the level of attack involved in those incidences have dramatically changed. Today, on 28th of April, 3 more incidences of ram raids has been reported in Auckland, one in Mount Roskill suburb, another in Titirangi Bay, and the third one in Mairangi Bay up in North Shore. So this is following the audacious ram raid reported in one of the shopping centre in South Auckland, the Ormiston shopping centre. You all would have seen the dramatic video footage where 3 stolen cars, they were driven in a berserk manner inside the shopping centre without any regard to the staff, the security people, the cleaners working over in the store, and they were accompanied by a group of around 15 young offenders who were running amok inside the show. The whole imagery that has been created was like the shopping center was being mauled in the middle of the night. Those kind of imageries really create a panic, a fear, especially among those who are in the front line, working in those retail stores, which are by and large, mostly by default, belonging to our ethnic migrant communities. We all know that Auckland has been leading the incidences of rising ram rates. There has been an increase of around 30% in retail crime, which is not matched with the number of arrests or incarcerations made by the police. Police is not arresting the equivalent number of people. So obviously there is a big gap in the way the police is responding and the way ram raiders, they are acting brazenly throughout the night. Yesterday, County's Munikau Police Detective Inspector Karen Bright issued a press conference and she issued a message that a tragedy might be waiting and somebody might get killed, either a young offender or maybe a dairy operator or a retail operator. Obviously, that tells about the level of panic, the level of concern, the level of disillusionment that police is facing, obviously, when they are dealing with young offenders. Without adequate tools, without adequate resources, especially in terms of strong policy or strong law, how to deal with them, obviously that kind of confusion is going to be there. So today we are going to speak to one of the dairy operator here in East Auckland to understand what are their thoughts, how do they feel with this dramatic spurt in the number of ram raid incidences. So this is the dairy we are here, Elstree Dairy. Let's go and meet the owner and try to understand what are their feelings. Follow me. So here we are. Naren bhai, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you, Sandeep. Good afternoon, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks. I've got a question for you. Are you following the news? I'm pretty sure you would be following the news of the ram raids.
Absolutely, following the news every day and living in fear.
Living in fear. Well, that answers my question even before. There is a question that I need to ask. Do you think Auckland is fast gaining an ignominious reputation of being a city of ram raids?
Yes, absolutely. Look, about approximately 20 ram raids being reported on a weekly basis here in New Zealand. And also what I'm aware of is there are a lot more, probably double the amount, are not actually being reported. So the problem is a lot worse than what is being reported out there. That's one thing for sure. What is also very devastating is it's not only ram raids. There are also many incidents of cars being broken into, houses being broken into. A lot of people are being hassled on the street. Queen Street is out of control. So situation is absolutely out of control, and nobody's actually taking responsibility. So for the shop owners, every day they are living in fears. They never know what is tomorrow is going to bring to their life. So it is very, very disappointing and a very, very fearful situation out there at the moment, Sandeep.
Sure, it would be. Now, yesterday we were, let's have a walk. Yesterday we were talking to County's Manukau Police Detective Inspector Karen Bright, who issued a kind of a concern that a tragedy might be waiting to happen. And at that time, probably what she was suggesting and what police suggested was that they are working with retail operators, trying to make some structural changes inside the shop or in front of the shop, especially in terms of putting up the bollards. So the Indian Weekender raised question with them that it definitely increases or inculcates a cost on the dairy operators. So what are your experience? What do you think as a dairy operator that it's a fair thing to ask, and does it always helpful, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, there are several matters here, Sandeep. One is putting a bollard and trying to protect your premises is not the only solution. Ram raids are happening on almost on a daily basis here in Auckland. Now, the other tricky situation that a lot of shop owners are falling into is that insurance. Once a shop's been ram raided for 3 or 4 times in a year, insurance tend to decline their policy. So what do shop owners do in that situation? If they can't renew the insurance policy, then they simply can't run their business. That's the one thing. The other thing is, once a shop's been ram raided, the problem stays with the shop owners and their family for a number of months. For them to come and open the business next day and carry on as the life is normal becomes very, very difficult. So it's not only the financial cost, but there's also a lot of emotional cost, which is priceless.
Right, fair enough, completely understand. Now let's go back and try to understand what police is trying to say. Police yesterday said, and they say a number of press releases and interviews, that police is doing everything that they can do, and they have got enough or maybe adequate resources and tools to deal with this situation of dramatic spurt in the number of ram raids. So are you satisfied with that explanation? Do you think the police is able to do enough?
No, not at all. I don't believe the police are doing enough to help the shop owners. I'll give you a couple of practical examples. Although we have been fortunate that we haven't had any incidents recently, there has been incidents at this particular shop where I was able to give police a picture of the offenders, as clear a picture as you get in a driver's license, and we're yet to see a result. So when you give police a clear evidence of the offender and the very clear picture, they are not able to catch the offenders. So I don't believe the police are doing enough.
No, that's a very valid point you raise, and in fact Indian Weekender has raised this issue with the police as well, including in the yesterday's press conference, that in many instances dairy operators and shop owners like you, they are able to identify the stuff stolen from their shops and that are being flaunted by the young offenders on the social media, which is a new problem. Probably in last couple of years we are seeing that the young offenders, they steal the stuff and then they go on and they flaunt on the social media. And in a number of instances, those shop owners have told police exactly where it is, what it is, but police have always come back helplessly saying that they can't do anything.
No, police are definitely not doing enough to help shop owners. The new problem that is happening out there in the society at the moment is offenders come to the shop, they commit a crime, they get away from the premises, and then they share their success story with their friends. And what makes
when you say share, is it on social media?
Absolutely, it is on social media. They share their success stories with their friends on the social media, and then their friends try and commit the same crime in a different locations in different parts of Auckland or throughout New Zealand, which is creating an extra problem for community in New Zealand.
I think you make a very valid point over here. The reason being that probably we have seen that yesterday only when County's Manukau Police was issuing that press conference saying that everything is in control, they are working everything, and this is a couple of days after we have seen the dramatic ram raid in Ormiston Shopping Centre. Yet last night there were 3 more incidences of ram raids. So it means that probably offenders, they are working in some kind of tandem partnership all along. The young offenders, they are sharing that information. And I don't think, and I would like to get your thought, that police is actually understanding the nature of the problem, and they are actually ahead of the curve and trying to break that vicious cycle.
I don't believe so. I mean, if police were ahead of the curve, then we wouldn't see increase in number of ram raids. And as I mentioned before, it's not only ram raids. One of the biggest concern New Zealand has at this particular point in time is not only ram raids. You have a lot of cars being broken into. You have a lot of houses being broken into. If you walk on the Queen Street, the problem, the street is out of control. So it's not just ram raids, but a number of issues are happening in the society at the moment, which is really concerning for
Right.
Aucklanders.
Now, let me take you back to the statement issued by Police Minister. Police Minister yesterday issued a statement to media that police is being adequately staffed. They have increased the police number by an additional 1,800 numbers. Plus, they have got enough resources, and it is for them to solve. So, do you agree with that assertion?
Not at all, no. I talk to a lot of shop owners in the community, and their feedback is that they're definitely not getting support from the police. If someone places a 111 call, they've been being kept on the phone call for about 10-15 minutes. They're being asked questions like, okay, what is the offender's wearing? What is, how tall is he? How short is he? Well, if someone's holding a gun on your neck, you're not actually going to look and see whether the offender is wearing full trousers or whether they're wearing a white shirt or black shirt or how tall or short he is. That is not happening. So I don't believe the police are doing enough for the shop owners out there at the moment.
Yeah, sure. I understand. Thanks for sharing all your concerns, Naren. Now, the last question before I let you go and do your business that I want to know from you is, what would make you safer, feel safer in next coming months? What should police be doing, or what should government be doing to quell this number of rising ram raid instances?
Yeah, sure. So obviously the current problem is a lot of teenagers are committing this crime. So initially the responsibility lies with the parents. Parents should be responsible to find out what their kids are up to. Also, what they're doing on social media, who are their friends, is the first thing. Secondly, certain community leaders also need to take responsibility and create awareness with the parents. They also need to promote youth programs that keep these youth out of these mischievous activities. Government needs to come up with a plan where they can fund some of these youth initiatives. Also, the police needs to take a bigger responsibility. They need to be a lot more visible out there in the community at the moment. Sure. Unless all these things happen and we all work together as a community, I can't see a simple solution.
Sure. No, that's quite a well laid out roadmap. Thanks very much, Naren Bhai. I hope that police would be listening on that, government would be listening to that. Thanks for your time, Naren Bhai. Hopefully, and I wish you all the best, that you remain safe over here.
Thank you.
And we will come back and speak to you again.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Right. So that was Naren Bhana, owner of this dairy store, family-owned business for the last 15 odd years, who shared his concerns, his sense of fear, and his sense of strong dissatisfaction with the way authorities they are currently managing the situation. So this is a growing problem, and I think we have been continuously hearing from different dairy operators, from different retail operators, that more needs to be done. Indian Weekender will keep on covering this very important issue for our ethnic migrant communities. We will continue to go out in community, speak to retail crime, victims of retail crime, retail operators, and raise their voice. And we will continue to speak with police minister, government, and try to understand how they are envisaging to solve this problem. This is Sandeep, along with our production team in Auckland.